Good morning. It's a good day today. I'm going to show you how that I've been casing these windows, and it's nice to be up working inside today on a cold, frosty day. You can see outside through the windows. These are the windows I'm casing. You can see outside the frost is on the roof, and it's just I just don't want to be working outside today. Too many years of that. So it's nice to be working on the inside today. I've been saving up this work through the summer so I can be in here in the winter. So I'm going to show you my windows and how I'm trimming these out. Okay, it's pretty easy. It's pretty basic. And this is kind of what they're going to be turning out like. All right, so I'm going to show you how I'm doing this trim job. All right, let's pull these blinds down so you can see what it looks like with the blinds down. And also, you've noticed that, maybe you didn't notice, but I'll tell you that I've had to shorten these blinds. Okay, it's not too hard, but the reason I mention shortening the blinds is because if you have to do the same thing in your house, then I'm going to show you a nice little use for those blind pieces. So basically, what this window trim is, it's just crown molding. Okay, and yeah, we got to touch up that paint. You got to cut that in with the paintbrush and make it follow that curve. Okay, that still has to be done, but don't scrutinize my paint job. Just let's look at the window trim. Okay, so that one's also done. Now I'm going to tell you right now, the piece up there is 5.5. The pieces on the sides are 3.5. And the piece on the bottom is just whatever piece of crown molding you have. So I have 1-inch overhang, okay? And down there, I have 1-inch overhang. And then the crown molding sticks under like 3/4 to 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's the look I'm getting. Now let's go and walk you through and show you how I'm doing this and show you what materials I'm using. Okay, so I'm just using the MDF boards. I just buy these from Home Depot in the 4x8 sheets, and then I rip them down with my skill saw first because they're too awkward and too heavy to carry upstairs. I don't have a track saw, so I just put 3 or 4 pieces together. Just use my trusty skill saw, okay? So the edge, I'm gonna get when I cut that, I'm gonna get an edge that's not so great. And I'm also gonna have a factory edge. So then I'll use the factory edge and I'll run it through my table saw, okay? So nothing fancy here. I don't have a big shop. This is just low budget. This is my place, my house. You've seen in my earlier video, remember when I made the miter stand? Well, this is coming in handy. I'm loving it, okay? It's super bulky. You know, when I go to take it apart, it takes some time, but I love having the continuous top all the way through there, okay? And it's so much better to cut the crown molding. And you know, if you've done any carpentry and you've had your piece up on a miter saw and then you cut it and then you have like a little support here and then something falls through, it's just so disappointing. I love this little miter saw stand, okay? So you're going to need the miter saw here, and then I'm going to show you some of the other little tools I have. Like I say, just low budget, low tech here, but it's going to take you some time to do it this way, but save a little bit of money, okay? This is my sawhorses here, and I cut into them. So I got a little shelf there. It's just super handy. Instead of throwing all my garbage all my tools up on the bench, I could put them down there, okay? Now, when you got your windows in this stage without the trim on, then you're gonna have the spaces around here, okay? Because when a window goes in, I mean, you need some space so you can actually get it in and some space where you can move it around. Now, unfortunately, on these 1, 2, 3 big windows right here, you can see I have my laser line right there, okay? Because I knew there was something a little bit off with the framing. So what I've done is I take my laser here and I just measure off the laser on these 3 windows here where they're together. It's going to be super important that you're consistent on the bottom, so there's not going to be the same reveal in my casing all the way around the window. And plus these are different windows. Like this window was manufactured different from this window, okay? It's going to be okay. The only reason I'm showing you that is because when you get over here, see that double window right there? Look how that turned out. See, with that piece right there, that's the double window. That's why I'm telling you about the laser, okay? So it's super important. If you don't think your framing is 100%, then just get that laser. And, you know, see, I have my reveal's a little bit smaller right there from the vinyl window to the sill. It's a little bit bigger over there, okay? Just because the way the windows were installed and framed. I didn't have the laser level at the time when I was framing in the windows, but I do now. So, okay. So that's the double window. All right, so if you just kind of look at that, it's the same detail that I was telling you about in the bedroom. The 5.5 top piece, 3.5 side piece, inch stick over, and then this crown molding right here, it's 3/4 where it, what I mean is where it sticks over, it's 3/4. And I kind of like the way it looks around there with that 3/4 stick over. Okay. Now, when I did this window up here, that ended up with an inch stick over. Okay. So I don't really like the inch as much as I like the 3/4, but I kind of discovered that after it was in, and I'm not going to rip it apart just for a 1/4 inch. Nobody's going to know except for, well, I guess y'all know now because you're watching the video, but I just show you this because I kind of like the 3/4 stick over. Now I'm getting ready to do this one right here. So like I told you, I'd done the 3/4 stick over there, inch stick over here. So to make it more subtle, I'm going to do 7/8. Okay, so it's probably not going to be obvious to the eye unless you're really sitting there looking at it. But remember how I was just barely telling you about the spaces in the window? See that? So what you're going to do, then you need to take your window and you need to bring it out with these little shims so that they match this all the way along here. You see that? Those shims need to touch right there. Or if not touch, they need to be really close, okay? So you go through and you shim out your window like this, okay? And then there's going to be a key measurement right here. The first measurement I take is I take this measurement right here from here, the top, from here to here, okay? And then I take the side measurement from here to here, minus top piece, minus bottom piece. So in my case, this is 3/4 inch MDF, so that's minus 1.5 inches, okay? So let's go get my little block and let me show you what my measurements are for this example. I just write down a few measurements and then I base everything else off that, okay? So let's go over this again. 59 3/8 was my top measurement. Remember? From there over that one, 59 3/8. And then the sides, they came out to 33 7/8 because that was, and I'm measuring from shim, from where I know the wood's going to touch, from there to there. Okay, so whatever that was, I had to subtract 1.5 inches because 3/4 and 3/4 is 1.5 inches. So then it came to 33 7/8. That's my sides. Okay, and then the bottom, I said 67 3/8 by 8 7/8. And I'll show you how I got the bottom, okay? So then what you do, and then, oh, and you know, it's the other measurement, 4 7/8 right there, okay? That was, I measured all the way around my window from where it touches the window to the sheetrock. That's 4 7/8, okay? Because you want it flush right there. So when you go and put your trim on, it's gonna be flush right here, okay? So you go get your pieces all ripped down. I ripped mine down on the table saw, right? Just rip it down on the table saw. Then cut it to the length on the miter saw. And then let's talk about the bottom more. But before we do, let me show you what's going on here. See? So what I do is I take the whole box, I build a box on top of the sawhorses, and I nail everything together, okay? So how I'm gonna tell you the bottom piece is like this. Remember I told you the 67 3/8 by 8 7/8 was the bottom, okay? So if I put all my pieces together and I kind of mock it up like I want it to go, this is my that's how my side piece is going to look, okay? I just have a 1/4 inch over, a 1/4 inch right there. And then my top piece is going to be like this, sticking over. It's going to go over the side piece 1 inch, okay? So if you want to follow my numbers exactly, then all you do is you just take your top measurement. Remember when we said 59 3/8? Just take that top measurement from outside to outside, then add 4 inches that way, and add 4 inches that way. Or in other words, whatever your top measurement, 59 3/8 plus 8. So for my math whizzes out there, you know that comes out to 67 3/8, okay? Now by 8 7/8, okay? So this comes out to 8 7/8. Now let me tell you how I got the 8 7/8. I just take my crown molding piece, whatever, this is the crown molding piece I have. So whatever crown molding piece you have, it might be different. But then I just take this like this, and I stick it against the wall, and you're gonna just, you know, kind of rock it until you feel like that's where it is. That's the contact, all right? So it doesn't rock anymore. And then you're gonna take the measurement from here where my thumb is, the very outside edge, all the way back to the vinyl window. And then you add your overhang. So mine came out from crown to vinyl window, came out to 8 inches. And so I said I want a 7/8 stick over. So then I said 8 7/8, okay? Now, what you do, the bottom piece, it has the little notches in it because that's where it sticks over. You see that little notch? This is nothing too complicated. It's just, you just got to do it a few times. So then what you do, you take your bottom piece, like we said, 67 3/8. You set it up on here, okay, and you mark the 4 inches. Then you do the same thing on this side. You know, it's going to be like this. Mark the 4 inches, okay? Now, how high do I know to come up right here? Well, that's easy. That's whatever this one was. You see that? So that's my notch on both ends. And in our example, this was 4 7/8. Because you remember from when we took our measurement, that was 4 7/8, okay? Then you just take and you make that notch right there, and then just nail everything together. And I like to take the little router right here. It's just got this is a little trim router. It just has the round over bit, okay? I just like to ease the edges. I just go all the way around there. And I'm not gonna worry about sanding this out because that's going to get covered like that, okay? So I'm not worried about that. This is all paint grade, and I just take my sandpaper and I rub that edge where the router hit it, okay, because that's going to be painted. That's going to be seen, all right? So you take your box and you nail it together, okay? Now, you should have your piece of crown molding, like I have mine. You should have it prefabbed, and it should be drying out. Now, how do I know the measurement for my crown molding? Well, in our example, I just wanted a 7/8 stick over, so come in 7/8 from there, and come in 7/8 from there, and then that's the long point of your crown molding, from long point to long point. Now let me show you this, okay? So I've already cut this, and already prefabbed it. So then this is going to be ready once I put the box in. The window, it's going to be ready to go up right there. Now the reason I recommend that you prefab this is because when you put this up on the wall, if you have these little ends like this, if you have those little ends already on, then it's going to keep the molding from rocking one way or the other way, okay? So that's why I say make the little end pieces, because those end pieces are going to hold it up against the wall, and they're going to hold it out, whatever that crown molding should be. They're going to hold it out like that, okay? So you got your crown molding all prefabbed up. You got your box all prefabbed up. So, you know, now you're just ready to take it over and you're ready to fit it in. Just a little tip right here. When the very first measurement we talked about, from here all the way over to there, give yourself a little bit of play right there, okay? So, because, I mean, in the real world, it's not going to go in if it's the exact same measurement. So take off 1/8 of an inch or whatever, okay? So it'll slide right in. So there you have it. That's what the window's going to look like, okay? And pretty low tech, pretty easy. Now, I don't know, there's one little thing that I might have failed to mention on these little header pieces. I'll just show you right here. See, I have my little header piece where it sticks beyond the door, beyond the casing, 1/4 of an inch. So I actually built these little header things up because where I go to get the material, it's so much more expensive if I buy these pieces already pre-made. So I just come and rip them in my table saw, and then I'll come back later and putty in there and sand it. And that's how I'm getting that little detail, okay? So this is a great little way to spice up your windows. And maybe, like in your house, if maybe, you know, if you wanted to remodel your windows a little bit, maybe you have, like, you know how they wrap the sheetrock around the windows? Let's go check that out. See, like, this is an example. This is down in my garage. I'm not going to do all this fancy stuff in my garage, but in a lot of houses, they'll just have the sheetrock wrapped around the window. But if you want to spice up your windows, well, what you do, you just go in there and rip that corner bead off, cut it off. You rip off these little pieces of sheetrock right here, and then you start from where you were at the beginning of the video. You just start like that, and it'll spruce up your windows. So anyway, takes a little bit of while to do the window like this, but it'll look a lot better. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video on how I'm doing these windows, and I hope it gives you some confidence where you can attempt something like this. You know, take a Saturday to do it. You could probably get one window done in a Saturday, and then just go from there. So anyway, thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you next time.